Let's stay in the Southern African region a bit longer. We now take you to the Rainbow Nation, where South Africa's Minister of Tourism, Lindiwe Sisulu, has confirmed a proposal of R1 billion brand partnership with English Premier League club Tottenham Hotspur. In a statement released by the tourism minister, Sisulu termed the controversial R1 billion proposal to sponsor Tottenham Hotspur a memorandum of understanding between Spurs and South African tourism. She also stated that the proposal is yet to be approved by the Treasury. Meanwhile, the Democratic Alliance has referred to the proposal as a slap in the face of every South African whose hard-earned tax will be used to sponsor a first world football team, and an insult to the South African tourism and travel sector. The DA said it would be tabling the matter at the next Tourism Portfolio Committee meeting in Parliament. The party also announced that it was sending a delegation from DA abroad to go to Tottenham Hotspur's headquarters in North London this week to inquire about the deal. To discuss this, we're joined by Thebe Ikalafeng. He's Brand Africa chairperson and former deputy chair of Tourism South Africa. Good evening, Thebe.
Good afternoon, or good evening, rather.
Indeed. Many thanks for your time here. Let's talk about this proposal, this $1 billion worth of sponsorship for Tottenham Hotspur. Information is not straightforward about this, but I'd love to know what you think about this and whether or not it's worth it at all.
Well, I think if you look at the state of the South African brand in terms of where we are as a country, when you look at challenges that we have with energy, challenges that we have with perhaps crime, and challenges that we have with joblessness, one could perhaps term this as an irresponsible, irrational, and ill-advised vanity investment. I'm not sure it does anything good for South Africa because the brand partnership is with a team that has won nothing in the last 30 years, and we've been in power for 30 years. So I'm not sure what the parallels, what they say about us as a country, whether it says South Africa is not a winning nation anymore.
Indeed. Now, let's talk about whether or not this deal could go through without the knowledge of the tourism minister, given the backdrop that the ministry tells us one thing and, you know, we hear the other also from the public and really from commentators.
Well, the deal cannot necessarily go through without the minister, nor can it go through without Treasury because of the amount of money that's going to be spent, which is a third to a 50%, about a third just in the fees to Tottenham, and perhaps as much as 50% of the annual budget of South African tourism, which is probably the highest in the continent by far at 1.2 billion rand. If you're going to spend as much as that on an investment of any kind of investment, you're going to need ministerial approval. You're also going to need Treasury approval because you'll be diverting funds which are already mandated, which are already earmarked for demand creation for South Africa with specific programs behind them. So no, the idea will not go through without the ministerial nor the Treasury approval, perhaps even as a presidential approval at this stage because of the magnitude of the deal.
I see. We've seen countries like Rwanda also sign on to sponsor clubs like Arsenal. Let's talk about this in the African context. Is there any benefits to doing this at all?
Well, if you look at Rwanda, Rwanda is in a very different position from South Africa. Rwanda was coming out of the 1999 genocide. And out of the genocide, Rwanda needed to tell a different story, and the story of a country that is stabilized, a story of a country that is growing, a story of a country that has a tourism product beyond the genocide of 1994. So they needed to build a tourism product. South Africa is the #1 tourism brand, tourism product, tourism destination in sub-Saharan Africa, bar none. Has the most diverse tourism infrastructure as well as tourism built as well as natural infrastructure. So you cannot compare South Africa to Nigeria, to Rwanda. Neither can you compare South Africa to Mauritius. Mauritius has positioned itself as a business, as a good place to do business.
Thebe Ikalafeng is chairperson and former deputy chair of Tourism South Africa. We've been discussing a potential sponsorship deal with Tottenham Hotspur.